What kind of life can a man expect if he shows mercy to his excuses and weakness to his fears? Think about that honestly for a moment. Most people never become who they could be, not because they lack talent, but because they treat their mind like fragile glass instead of a weapon forged in fire. Strength is not something you are born with, it's something you build. Every day either hardens you or softens you, and the world does not reward softness. The world doesn't hand out trophies for almost trying. It respects the ones who show up with purpose, the ones who refuse to bow to laziness or fear. No mercy, no weakness. That's your foundation. The first battle is always with yourself. Your mind whispers, take a break, do it later. You've already done enough today. But that voice is a liar. That voice is the reason people fail silently. You don't rise by agreeing with your weakness. You rise by confronting it, crushing it, proving to yourself that your discipline is stronger than your mood. Men who win understand one truth: comfort is a trap. Every time you choose the harder path, wake up earlier, work longer, move faster, you are carving strength into your character. Think of the warriors and leaders you read about in books like The Art of War or Meditations. They didn't build greatness in moments of ease. They built it through pressure, conflict, and choosing difficulty over safety. A warrior mindset isn't about aggression. It's about clarity. It's about knowing what you want and refusing to negotiate with anything that pulls you away from it. Weak minds drift. Strong minds decide. Weak minds hope. Strong minds act. Weak minds search for motivation. Strong minds lean on discipline. And here's the truth most refuse to accept: your life is a mirror of your standards. If you accept weakness from yourself, the world gives you weak results. If you accept excuses, the world hands you a future built out of them. But if you demand more, if you show no mercy to your own laziness, no weakness toward your fears, the world begins to respect you because you start to respect yourself. Strength isn't an image. It isn't a tone of voice. It's the quiet confidence that comes from doing what others avoid. It's the inner stability formed by choosing growth over comfort, purpose over pleasure, responsibility over distraction. You want confidence? Earn it. You want respect? Command it. You want power? Build it. Every rep, every decision, every early morning and late night becomes a brick in the structure of the man you're becoming. This is your invitation to harden your mind, to become disciplined when others crumble, focused when others get distracted, relentless when others quit. Life isn't waiting for you to be ready. It rewards those who act while everyone else hesitates. No mercy for the excuses trying to hold you back. No weakness for the doubt whispering you're not enough. Only pressure, only discipline, only the mindset of someone who refuses to be broken. Build the warrior within, because once your mind is unshakable, the world has no choice but to follow. The power of discipline over emotion is the defining line between an ordinary life and a life of purpose. Emotion is volatile. It rises, crashes, twists, and turns with every circumstance, every inconvenience, every unexpected challenge. If a man allows emotion to lead him, then his direction, his standards, and his results will constantly shift. One moment he feels inspired and ready to go, and the next he feels tired, overwhelmed, or bored. Emotion pulls him back and forth like a leaf in the wind. Discipline, on the other hand, is the anchor. It holds you steady when everything inside you tries to collapse. It is the force that makes you get up when you feel like staying down. The force that makes you keep pushing when your mind whispers that today is not the day. Discipline is not loud or emotional. It is cold, consistent action, regardless of mood. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it means living without emotion, shutting down their feelings, or becoming some kind of machine. That's not it. Emotions are natural, but they are not meant to be your commander. They are signals, not instructions. A warrior mindset is built when you acknowledge your emotions, fear, laziness, doubt, frustration, but you do not obey them. You let discipline choose your actions. A disciplined man trains whether he feels like it or not. He works whether motivation shows up or not. He moves forward even when his emotions beg him to slow down. This is how inner strength is built. Each time you act against your emotional resistance, you carve another layer of power into your identity. Emotions are temporary. Discipline is strategy. Emotions disappear once the moment passes. The fear you felt before a challenge fades the moment you face it. The laziness you felt before a workout vanishes once you start moving. But discipline remains. It is the structure that allows you to achieve something bigger than comfort. Imagine a man who relies only on emotion to guide him. He wakes up motivated. He works hard for an hour. Then he gets bored, checks his phone, loses momentum, and promises himself he'll start again tomorrow. This is the cycle that destroys potential. Discipline breaks that cycle. Discipline says, do it anyway. And the moment you act in alignment with discipline instead of emotion, you begin shaping a stronger version of yourself. Books like The Power of Habit and Atomic Habits show how your daily choices form pathways in your mind. Discipline reinforces those pathways until action becomes automatic. Emotion may try to interrupt the process, but discipline builds a kind of mental armor. When you choose discipline repeatedly, your confidence grows because you know you can trust yourself. You stop being controlled by impulses, cravings, or moments of weakness. You become someone who executes, someone who follows through. Eventually, discipline becomes part of your identity, something you carry with you everywhere, something that shapes every decision, something that keeps you walking forward, even on the days when your emotions are trying to pull you in every direction. Embracing discomfort is the foundation of building an unbreakable mind, yet it is the very thing most people run from. The average person spends his entire life trying to avoid anything that feels difficult, inconvenient, or demanding. He wants everything to be easy. The perfect circumstances, the perfect timing, the perfect mood. But greatness is never born in comfort. Every strong, disciplined, and powerful individual you admire has one thing in common. They willingly put themselves into situations that tested them, stretched them, and pushed them far beyond what felt comfortable. Discomfort is the training ground of the mind. It is the furnace where resilience, grit, and mental sharpness are forged. When you step into discomfort deliberately by doing the harder task, choosing the longer path, or facing the challenge head on, you are telling your mind, you don't control me. I control you. That single shift in relationship with your own mind changes everything. People misunderstand discomfort. They think it is punishment, suffering, or some kind of cruelty toward oneself. But discomfort is simply pressure, and pressure creates growth. A seed cannot become a tree without breaking through the soil. Muscles cannot grow without resistance. Diamonds cannot form without immense force. And the mind cannot become powerful if it is always kept safe, warm, and untouched by challenge. When you willingly embrace discomfort, you break the illusion that life should be easy. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions. You start taking control because you've accepted that discomfort is not a sign to stop. It's a sign to proceed. When you consistently choose the uncomfortable route, you begin to build a level of mental stability that other people cannot even comprehend. Something as simple as taking a cold shower, running in the rain, pushing through one more hour of focused work, or training when your body feels heavy slowly rewires your identity. Each uncomfortable action becomes a vote for the stronger version of yourself. Each difficult moment survived proves that your mind is more capable than you previously believed. Over time, you start craving difficulty because you realize discomfort is the fastest way to grow. You no longer fear challenges, you seek them. You no longer run from pressure, you step toward it with confidence. Books like Can't Hurt Me and The Obstacle is the way talk about how adversity becomes the path. Not something to avoid, but something to use. When you adopt that mindset, life changes. You stop interpreting obstacles as failures. You stop seeing discomfort as pain. Instead, you recognize that every uncomfortable situation is training you to become more disciplined, more decisive, more capable, and more controlled. Your threshold for stress increases. Your tolerance for hardship expands. And suddenly, things that used to overwhelm you no longer affect you. Where others crumble, you stay calm. Where others give up, you stay consistent. Where others hesitate, you take action. Discomfort becomes your advantage because once you learn to master it, nothing in the world can break you. Self-respect is not something you can fake, and it's not something you can buy. It is something you earn, and the only way to earn it is by doing hard things, especially when no one is watching. Most people want confidence, but they avoid the very actions that create it. They want to feel proud of themselves, but they constantly choose the easy path, the shortcut, the comfortable option. Self-respect doesn't grow in comfort. It grows when you push through resistance, when you finish what you start, when you keep your word to yourself, and when you do what your weaker self desperately wants to avoid. Every difficult task you overcome becomes a quiet reminder that you are capable, disciplined, and worthy of trust. The more challenges you take on, the more your self-respect sharpens. The more excuses you destroy, the stronger your identity becomes. A man who avoids difficulty cannot respect himself because deep down he knows he is lying to his own potential. He knows he is capable of more, but he chooses less. That choice slowly eats away at him. It shows up as insecurity, frustration, self-doubt, and a constant feeling that something inside is missing. And he's right. Something is missing. What's missing is the proof of his own strength. True self-respect is rooted in action. You cannot talk yourself into self-worth. You must act your way into it. You gain confidence when you do the thing you were afraid to do. You gain pride when you complete the task you wanted to avoid. You gain inner strength when you push through discomfort instead of retreating. This is how you build the inner backbone that separates you from the crowd. The world tries to sell you fake confidence, quick hacks, easy wins, instant gratification. But those things don't build real respect within yourself. Real respect comes from discipline, sacrifice, and consistency. It comes from waking up early, even when you feel exhausted. It comes from choosing the gym over the couch. It comes from studying while others waste time. It comes from building habits that align with the man you want to become, not the man you are right now. Books like Man's Search for Meaning and Grit show how human beings develop purpose and strength not through pleasure, but through endurance and responsibility. When you carry responsibility, real responsibility, you begin to feel grounded, stable, and powerful. You start to trust yourself because you've proven again and again that you can handle more than you once thought. Self-respect becomes your internal compass. It makes it easier to say no to distractions, to avoid people who pull you down, and to stay focused on your goals. When you respect yourself, you stop seeking approval from others. You stop needing validation. You stop comparing your life to everyone else's. You start living with purpose instead of impulse. And that's the beauty of doing hard things. Every difficult action builds a stronger version of you. Every challenge completed becomes a brick in the foundation of your character. And as that foundation grows, so does your self-respect, solid, unshakable, and earned through effort, not emotion. Purpose is the force that pulls a man forward when everything else tries to drag him down. Without a clear purpose, life becomes noise. Distractions, temptations, wasted hours, endless cycles of starting and stopping. A man without purpose wakes up tired even when he slept enough, feels restless even when he has nothing to do, and feels overwhelmed even when his life is easy. That emptiness comes from a lack of direction. Purpose turns chaos into order. It gives meaning to discipline, structure to your actions, and power to your decisions. When you know what you're fighting for, the struggles no longer feel like suffering. They become steps on a path you've chosen with intention. Purpose is not found in comfort or entertainment. It's discovered in the moments when you ask yourself who you want to become and what you're willing to sacrifice to get there. Most people live without purpose because they never take time to define it. They drift through life reacting to everything around them instead of deciding where they want to go. They let circumstances shape them. They let their environment guide them. They wait for someone to save them, direct them, or inspire them. But purpose is not handed to you. It's something you carve out through reflection, hardship, and honest self-assessment. Books like Start With Why and The Alchemist remind us that every person has a deeper mission, but only a few are willing to chase it. Purpose doesn't always appear like a lightning bolt. It forms slowly, piece by piece, as you push yourself, experiment, fail, grow, and learn what actually sets your soul on fire. And once you find even a glimpse of that direction, everything in your life starts to recalibrate around it. Purpose gives you clarity. When you know what you want, you instantly know what doesn't matter. You stop chasing cheap pleasure. You stop wasting time on people who drain your energy. You stop indulging in habits that weaken you. Instead, your actions start aligning with your long-term vision. You begin to operate with intention instead of impulse. Every decision becomes a reflection of the future you want to build. That's the power of purpose. It filters your life. It removes the unnecessary and amplifies the essential. And when you wake up with a mission, the world feels different. The challenges don't discourage you, they motivate you. The setbacks don't break you, they teach you. The hard days don't derail you, they refine you. Purpose also creates inner strength. A man driven by purpose can endure more pain, pressure, and discomfort than someone chasing short-term rewards. When you have a mission, you develop resilience because you understand that every struggle is part of the journey. Purpose transforms sacrifice into investment. It turns discipline into identity. It turns obstacles into opportunities. And most importantly, it turns you into someone who is anchored, someone who cannot be swayed by moods, opinions, or external chaos. Purpose is the backbone of the warrior mindset because a man who knows his mission becomes unstoppable. He moves with clarity, persistence, and power, and nothing, not fear, not doubt, not failure can break a man who is fueled by purpose. Excuses are the silent killers of potential, and softness is the comfortable grave where ambition is buried. Most people don't fail because they lack opportunities, intelligence, or talent. They fail because they build a lifestyle around excuses. They build routines that protect their weaknesses instead of exposing them. Every excuse, no matter how small, slowly erodes discipline and self-belief. It becomes a habit, a reflex, a default response to anything difficult. And once excuses become a pattern, softness becomes a personality. A man begins to justify every flaw, every failure, every moment of laziness. He starts telling himself stories to feel better instead of telling himself the truth that would make him better. Excuses offer temporary comfort, but they leave permanent damage. The danger of excuses is that they sound reasonable. They disguise themselves as logic. I'm tired. I don't have time. I'll start tomorrow. It's not the right moment. These lines feel harmless, but they're mental poison. Every time you let an excuse win, you strengthen the part of you that wants to quit. You give authority to your weakness, and the more authority your weakness has, the less control you have over your own life. Softness does the same thing. It convinces you that avoiding difficulty is the smart choice. It makes you seek pleasure over purpose, distraction over discipline, and comfort over growth. Softness feels safe, but it slowly destroys confidence. A soft man doubts himself because deep inside he knows he hasn't done the work required to respect himself. Books like The War of Art talk about resistance, the invisible force that pushes you away from the things you should be doing. Resistance shows up as excuses. It shows up as hesitation, procrastination, and the endless search for comfort. And if you don't confront it, resistance grows stronger. It takes over your habits. It shapes your identity. A man filled with excuses becomes a man who waits for life to happen to him instead of making life happen through him. His dreams decay, his goals dissolve, and his self-belief fades. He becomes the version of himself he once feared becoming. The true danger of softness is that it feels good in the moment, but leaves you weaker afterward. Going back to bed feels good until you look in the mirror and feel regret. Skipping the workout feels good until your body slows down and your energy drops. Postponing your goals feels good until years pass and you realize you haven't moved forward. Excuses protect your comfort, but they destroy your future. A man who allows excuses to rule him cannot become powerful. He cannot build discipline, confidence, or strength because all of those things are forged in discomfort, effort, and consistency. To break free from softness, You must attack excuses the moment they appear. You must refuse to let comfort dictate your decisions. You must choose action over emotion every single time. The more you reject excuses, the stronger you become. The more you embrace difficulty, the faster you grow. And the moment you stop tolerating softness within yourself, your entire life begins to shift. You become sharper, more disciplined, more reliable, and more powerful. You stop living as a prisoner of your excuses and start living as a creator of your destiny. Relentless consistency is the force that separates temporary effort from lasting transformation. Anyone can be motivated for a day. Anyone can work hard when life feels exciting, when energy is high, when the environment feels supportive. But true strength is built in the days that feel slow, dull, boring, heavy, or discouraging. Consistency is not glamorous. It's repetitive, disciplined action that compounds over time. It's doing the work again and again until your results become undeniable. Most people fail not because they can't work hard, but because they can't work hard long enough. They chase intensity instead of consistency. They sprint for a few days, burn out, quit, restart, and repeat the cycle endlessly. The warrior mindset is built through steady effort, not explosive bursts. It comes from refusing to disappear when things get tough, from showing up even when you don't want to, from proving to yourself that quitting is no longer part of your identity. Consistency transforms you in ways motivation never will. Every time you follow through on your commitments, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who finishes what he starts. Every completed task becomes a brick in your psychological foundation. And over time, that foundation becomes so strong that it's almost impossible to shake. Books like Atomic Habits describe how small, repeated actions shape your identity far more powerfully than grand gestures. Doing one disciplined thing every day builds more confidence and power than doing 10 disciplined things once. Because consistency rewires the brain. It makes discipline automatic. It eliminates negotiation. It kills indecision at the root. Most people underestimate how fast life changes when you stay consistent. A man who trains every day may not see dramatic changes in a week, but in a year he becomes unrecognizable. A man who reads every day may not feel smarter immediately, but in a few months his thinking becomes sharper and more strategic. A man who works on his craft daily may feel slow in the beginning, but over time he becomes a master while everyone else remains average. Consistency does not reward the impatient. It rewards the committed. The ones who understand that slow progress is still progress. The ones who know that every step forward, even a small one, is better than standing still. Consistency also builds emotional resilience. When you force yourself to stay disciplined regardless of your mood, you become less controlled by emotion and more controlled by principle. You stop relying on inspiration and instead rely on structure. You start to trust your routine more than your feelings, and that trust becomes a superpower. Consistency teaches you that success doesn't come from luck, talent, or timing. It comes from daily execution. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to refuse to stop. You just need to honor your commitments more than your cravings. You just need to keep going. Because once consistency becomes your strongest habit, there is nothing in the world that can slow you down. In the end, everything comes down to the man you choose to be when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, when nothing feels easy. Discipline over emotion, embracing discomfort, earning self-respect through hard work. Living with purpose, rejecting excuses, and showing up with relentless consistency. These are not just ideas. They are the tools that shape a warrior mind. You are not defined by your circumstances, but by your response to them. You are not limited by your weaknesses, but by your willingness to tolerate them. The warrior mindset is built choice by choice, day by day, in the silence of your own effort. And once you commit to this path with no mercy for excuses and no weakness in your decisions, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger.